Hello there. I am Dr. Teresa O'Halloran, and I'm your instructor for Counseling 556. Yep, Mindfulness and Psychotherapy. And I'm very excited to be working on this with you. This is obvious. This is a passion of mine. If you know me, if you've had internship or practicum with me, you'll know that. And so I'm grateful to be able to do this class with you. Should be a good experience. So I thought I would take these few minutes to introduce myself, introduce the course a bit, and hopefully this will help us be on the same page, have some awareness. I'm going to pause this and come right back. I forgot the book. There we go. Actually, it was right here. First, let me say a few things about who I am. I have been a counselor educator at Adams State since 2000, and before that I taught at Western Michigan University in a doctoral program in counselor education. So all along I've been both a mental health therapist and a counselor educator for all those years since '96. Yeah, so it's a long time. And it's been a blessing. It's been wonderful. I really love working with Adams State because I get to be with a group of people and a program that's really committed to developing excellent, strong practitioners. We now have a doc program. We've had it for several years, but we continue to really focus on our master's program and making that be, as I said, develop excellent counselors. So I live in Omaha, Nebraska, not in Alamosa. In my career with Adams State, I have lived in Alamosa twice, 2 different periods of once 4 years or 3.5, and once I guess 4.5, and once 2 years. I left the first time because I came back to Omaha, Nebraska, where I grew up to care for my father, who was ailing and aging and turned out had dementia. After a couple of years, that was clear. The second time, and then after a few years there, I moved back to Alamosa. They said, oh, please come back to be full-time faculty. And I still love the work, but Alamosa is too small for me. It was a difficult situation. So I left, came back home, and after some time they offered me this job. So I get to still work with you and live where I want to. It's pretty sweet. So I've been a counselor since 1989, and I've worked in all kinds of mental health settings. In Nebraska, we are called mental health therapist. LIMHP is mental health professional. People go by mental health therapist here. And you know, the field has moved away from using the term counselor, but that is our identity, counselor, rather than social work, if you would compare those two. So in my work as a counselor, I have worked inpatient, outpatient, hospitals, crisis center, like domestic violence shelter, addiction center, outpatient, and I've done consultation in the schools with addictions and career stuff years ago. And most recently, for most of my career as a counselor educator, I had a small private practice and worked primarily with people with depression, anxiety, trauma, and addiction. And because I was working with trauma, I became EMDR certified practitioner. And just keep growing. That's the cool thing about being a counselor, is you're signing up to keep on growing. So that's a cool thing about it. So this class and me, I have been a mindfulness practitioner since about 2000 or 2001 was my first retreat. I've been working on meditation since 83, and even before, even as a child, I was a very spiritual child. But in 1983, I got sober and was involved with the 12-step program intensely for like 7 years. And in that, of course, meditation is a major component of recovery. But mindfulness meditation or Vipassana meditation, insight meditation, we'll learn about those terms a bit more in the class. But those I have just been studying since about 2001, I think, was my first weekend retreat. Yeah. So the practice itself has enriched my life. The practice helps all my relationships. And the practice is, the instructions for practice are simple, but the practice is not easy because it takes commitment and willingness and effort to stay with it. So out of my meditation training, I became interested in MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is really the first of the mindfulness being applied directly in a programmatic way to therapy. There were people who were writing, like John Wellwood was writing before MBSR became so popular. It was 1979, so that's quite a while ago. But there were other psychologists doing mindfulness as part of their practice. Anyway, MBSR is, I'm fully trained in that. I just am I've completed all my supervision. I have one more audio recording to submit to my supervisor, and I'll be a certified MBSR teacher, which for me has been a 4-year process, and teaching many, many classes, like I think 12 sets of classes. For some people, you could probably do that in 2.5 years or so, but I moved in the middle of that, and also you have to have groups of a good enough size. And in Omaha, Nebraska, I am the only MBSR certified practitioner. I'm the only one offering MBSR, and we have almost 1 million people here, and we're really Midwestern, but we have, we have a good mindfulness community and yoga community that's growing, continues to grow. But MBSR is not, it's new here. So it's hard to get people to come to classes, or it was, but the marketing now is coming into play. Boy, I'm really saying a lot here, aren't I? So the other aspects of mindfulness in psychotherapy that we will explore, and I have training in our DBT and some other ones. But anyway, that's enough about me. So again, about this class, I'm excited to work with you. We have had this class as an elective for, I'm guessing 5 years. Maybe 4 or 5 years. And Susan Varheely, who was the longtime chair of our department, first created the class. I wanted to teach it, and she went ahead and did it. So I've been waiting till my opportunity, and here's my opportunity. So yeah, so that's great. I also bring with me, because I haven't taught it before, a real openness to how we as a group develop this class. I mean, I built a framework. You'll see that in the syllabus. But exactly what this class will look like depends on us. Bringing our both beginner's mind and openness and curiosity to what is it that we will create will make it really interesting. You can tell by the syllabus already that it's an elective and different, because the syllabus is only 4 pages long. and we don't have to go through all the standards, et cetera, that the other syllabi go through. So let's see. One other thing about the class and being open and excited is that on Sunday mornings, I teach a class called the Sunday Morning Sit, and we do, I do a little Dharma talk, yoga practice, and then seated meditation. And that practice is so enriching. I feel like this class is a giant Sunday morning sit. So that's how I'm framing it. I'm going to be showing up as the best self that I can be that day, and whenever I tune in with you, and work with the material that we're working with. So it's not as, so we all have to work with it. We all have to deepen our insight, no matter where we are as we enter this experience. So before I started this video, there was just one person who had posted an intro, and they had some mindfulness practice. It's not a requirement that you have a meditation practice for taking this class, but it is a requirement that you develop and practice one while you're in the class. It's part of the class requirement. And so I'll talk more about that, but that's important to know. You don't have to already know what you're doing. And if you already do know, quote unquote, what you're doing, you need to do what we're doing for the twice a week requirement. So, and that'll begin, for some of you, that will take some acceptance and willingness to let go of what you've always done to begin at the beginning. So the tasks of the class, there are a few. We have our two books, this one by Goldstein and Jack Kornfield. They are both leaders of they are the two main leaders of the American insight meditation or Vipassana movement in the United States. And Susan and I went to see Joseph Goldstein at I think it was just a one-day offering in Santa Fe years and years ago. He's at the Insight, the Bar, Massachusetts Insight Meditation Center, IMS. And Jack Kornfield is from California and has a center, I think he was integral in starting a center called the Spirit Rock Meditation Center, and that's where I tend to go for my extended retreats. So I haven't had a retreat with him yet, so maybe someday soon. Our second book is Mindfulness and Psychotherapy, and this is a great book. I hope you love it. I think it's written really well. It covers what we need to cover in our class. And so we'll have supplemental readings as needed, but this is really a great book by Germer and other authors. So the next piece is that you will need to have a personal practice, and we're going to begin slowly with that. I'll write some things about it. But also you will, for this week, your meditation practice is to sit for 10 minutes twice, 2 days this week. I mean, one day, 2 times. 1 time per day, twice. And so one of the things that could be helpful at this point is for you to determine what would be a good time of day for me to do this practice so that you can get a routine going and then follow through with that. Because the biggest thing with any meditation practice is our sense that I don't have time, or it becomes an add-on like work or kids or, I don't know, grocery store always comes before doing your sit. And if we did it the other way, doing the sit first, we can have maybe all those other things go a little more smoothly. Not always, but maybe so. And we'll talk about why. Additionally, you're going to write a self-compassion letter that is an assignment from Kristen Neff. And I think that comes up kind of new, kind of quickly. Yeah, 4 or 5 weeks. And that is a mindful self-compassion is one of the pieces of the way mindfulness is being applied. And maybe we could add that to our list too if someone was interested in working with that versus the ones I had listed. Then you'll be developing a, since this is an elective and you're graduate students, most of you are about to graduate, I'm guessing. Maybe not, but I think a lot of you are. We will have you be doing the teaching, the leading of the discussion board for a portion of the course. The reason here is that the best way to learn anything is to teach it. And also that you get, because with that, you get much deeper in your understanding than just in a cursory way reading what is assigned and then showing up to see what happens. But when you're the teacher, you have to be fully prepared. So I think this will be a good experience. And next week, we'll begin to figure out some co-leadership setup. And then finally, you'll write a paper. And the paper will be on one of the major mindfulness-based therapies. And so that includes the ones listed in your syllabus: DBT, ACT, MBSR, MBCT, MBRP, and mindful eating. The mindful eating, it seems like an acronym or a model for mindful eating has not taken hold. I did just last couple days some Google searches to see what was out there now. Years ago, I used to teach the eating disorders elective, and MB-EAT was a program that was developed and coming up. But there isn't another one that seems, there's some specific teachers, but I haven't seen a specific model. So we'll explore that more if someone wants to go in that direction. Yeah. So that's your assignments, and it's all in the syllabus. And I made some changes. If you printed this out first thing this morning, I made some changes to the syllabus. And that is that when it comes to the co-leadership component, I added in these mindfulness-based therapies as well. So both in the general way, like working with depression or working with anxiety, and then MBSR might be another model that you would want to present on. I'll write some more about that. Okay, so I think that's enough for now. I appreciate your tuning in and listening. I will be, after this, posting a 10-minute meditation recording. And I would like all of us to start with it at the same place, as I said, with this meditation recording. For MBSR, I make lots of recordings, and we start in MBSR, we start with 5 minutes or 10 minutes in class, and we move up to 40 minutes over the 8 weeks that people meditate daily at home for their home practice. But we'll keep our requirement moderate. But I want us to start at the same place, and then you can grow as you'd like. I'll be offering longer recordings over the time, but you'll need to start with this 10-minute piece. And that's my dog Gracie. She likes to alert me that there are people in the neighborhood. So I paused it again to get her to stop. It's a new feature on Zoom I haven't used before, the pause. So thank you all very much for being here. And I will be tuning in with you both in video and with written modules. I will pretty much weekly. You'll see some of our modules are 2 weeks long. So take care.